This week on Australian Patent News, we'll be looking at the Australian R&D tax credit system, at upcoming changes to Australian patent law, and interviewing Allen Liao from Scribble Apps. In the single largest upheaval of Australian patent law in the last decade, the legal test for patentability has become more difficult to pass. The test for common general knowledge, which is the common body of knowledge someone needs to keep in mind when assessing whether an invention is patentable, has become an international as opposed to just an Australian test. It will also be more difficult for inventors to file their own patent application after the coming update because of new support requirements. The way in which patent documents will need to be prepared will be more particular, but more in line with international standards. Likewise, in examination, in assessing whether an idea is new, it will no longer get the benefit of the doubt. Novelty will be assessed according to a more probable than not test. In light of these changes, applicants should file a request for examination before the 15th of April next year, which is when the new legislation will be enacted, to access a more favourable examination process. To find out more, check out our blog at this link. The new R&D tax credit is a game changer for Australian innovators. Companies with a turnover of less than $20 million can get a 45 cents in the dollar refundable tax credit. This gives companies investing in new technology cash back into their account so they can reinvest it in their R&D programs. For the larger companies, a non-refundable tax offset of 40% is available for eligible R&D expenditure. Irrelevant of where the IP is owned, if the R&D is taking place in Australia, then the tax credit can be accessed. Baxter IP commercialization advisors have been directly involved in helping a number of clients apply for the R&D tax credit. Keep an eye on our channel for any updates to the scheme. Well, we're here with Allen Liao from Scribble Apps, and Allen and his team are the inventors and entrepreneurs behind a great new transport application. Helps people never miss their bus. Allen, tell us a bit about it.
So traditionally, most apps that have to do with transport, they provide you timetables, and those don't really work. You have to figure out when you have to leave where you are to go to the bus stop, and you have to plan hours in advance, and it's annoying. It's hard to do, and you usually miss your bus, or you end up waiting half an hour for one. And so what this app does is you enter where you want to go, and it figures out what buses that will take you to point B, which you've chosen. And it shows that to you visually on a map instead of a timetable. So you can see these buses moving, and you can see where you are, and you can see where the bus stop is. And all you do is you just tap on a bus to select it. And it figures out how long it's going to take you to walk to the bus stop, and how long the bus is going to take to get to the bus stop. And it sets an alarm to tell you exactly when to leave where you are to leave, or to go to the bus stop. And
so you're not wasting your time.
So you're not wasting your time. So we've timed it so you get there and the bus gets there a minute later.
Okay, and so I suppose it's really helpful where if the bus is running early or if the bus is running late,
yeah,
it sort of adjusts its prediction,
yeah,
of when the bus will arrive, and therefore also when you should leave.
Will change.
Yeah, based on live data. That's really neat. And as far as you're aware, it hasn't been done before.
No, it hasn't been done like this before. So there has been live data. So for example, in Chicago, they give out live arrival time based on GPS data.
Okay.
And they represent that as a list of times, which is very useful data.
Hard to use. Yeah. And so there's a few of you involved in Scribble Labs.
Yeah.
How did you structure your relationship with your business partners to get this venture off the ground?
So it started off with just me, and it was me being frustrated with public transport. So
know the feeling.
Yeah. So one day I was waiting for the bus. I'm 18 and I was going to uni, and so the bus was supposed to come 3 times in the 40 minutes that I waited, but it didn't come, and so I missed a lecture, and I got to uni, and after uni I looked up where state transit was, which takes care of buses, and I went over there. It's just down the road from uni, about a kilometre or something. And so I got there and there was security and they wouldn't let me in, so I had to call state transit, and then I convinced an assistant of somebody to get me in, and I was able to get in, and I talked to the chief information officer, and she loved the idea and asked me for a demo, and so I 2 weeks later I'd found somebody, and he was a great programmer, and he loved the idea, and he thought we could be successful, and he did it for me, and I went and showed it to her, and she said, great, I love it. And
wow, that's awesome.
yeah.
And so where are things up to now, and sort of where to from here?
So after I showed the Chief Information Officer of State Transit, she had to refer me to a different department of the government, which is New South Wales Transport, because they actually handle all the customer-based services, and that's their role. And so they want to move forward as fast as possible, and so right now they're working out all the legal issues they have to sort out before they can fully release all the GPS data.
Were you concerned in approaching and presenting your idea to these bodies about possibly giving away the idea, and what did you do about it?
So what I did was I came to Baxter IP, and so this was actually suggested by the Director General. He said you should probably go look at how you could protect your intellectual property, and I was able to find Baxter IP, and I came and I talked to them, and they were really helpful, and they walked me through all the steps of patenting and how to protect your idea, and so we've got a provisional patent. And
was there any sort of aspects of the patenting process or the preparation of your patent application that you found sort of particularly interesting, or something that surprised you? Was it sort of what you expected?
It was, well, the attorney I was working with, Nicholas, he made things very, very clear, so there weren't really any surprises along the way. I guess I was surprised the efficiency and how well everything worked.
How quickly you could actually get a patent application filed. Yeah. Well, that's neat. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been great having you here and talking about where things are going, and we absolutely wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.